Hi, my name's Anna Hess, and behind the camera is my friend Kayla, who's going to film me as I explain to you about chicken moat. When we first moved here to our homestead, we live in an area with very heavy deer pressure. And the deer would come in, they ate everything. It was really painful. Some days I said I was going to stop gardening, that was it. So I started reading up on how to keep deer out of your garden, and the really sure way to do it is to build a fence that's 10 feet high all the way around your garden. And that sounds really, really expensive. So we decided to use a permaculture technique called a chicken moat instead. And what a chicken moat is something that takes advantage of the fact that if you've got a deer trying to get into your homestead, like if you look up here, you'll see the reason we have heavy deer pressure is because it's all forest around us. So the deer comes down the hill and he wants to jump in here and eat my sweet potatoes. He could jump over a little fence. Those fences up there are about 4 or 5 feet high. He could jump over that pretty easy. But if you've got two fences close together, he can't jump over both of them, and he's going to get scared being stuck in a little pasture. So by putting these kind of long, skinny pastures around the outside of our homestead, we keep the deer out, and we also take advantage of the fences to keep the chickens in, and the chickens get to eat all the food in that pasture. So we don't have to move them in tractors every day. We just rotate them in pastures once a week or so. So if you kind of look down on our homestead now, Kayla's going to point the camera, and on the other side of the barn there, you kind of can see some white gates. Those are another chicken moat going around the far side of the pasture. The barn, of course, counts as part of our moat. It keeps the deer out. They can't go through the barn. And then as you go to the end of that area, our homestead drops off into a really steep cliff. The deer can't get up that cliff. We do have a small fence at the top of the cliff, you can see, which now and then a deer will try to get up there, but usually that little fence is enough to just kind of deter the deer. You're not really trying to keep the deer out, you're trying to deter the deer, to make them think it's just a little too hard to come in. So as you come on around, you can see we're starting another moat over there, and you may not be able to see it, but as you get closer back around to where we started, you'll see an area where we actually made a 10-foot high fence. That's because that area doesn't have a moat, and last summer the deer just kept coming in. We used a game camera and we figured out they were coming in that one spot where there wasn't a chicken moat, and so we made that just a little higher. And the great thing is chicken wire is pretty cheap, and our deer moats also function as chicken pastures. So I think you should try it at home. So one thing you have to be aware of when you start moating off your entire homestead is that if you have a dog, your dog is going to want to go through those fences. It'd be great if the dog would chase all the deer away. Our dog is about 50% effective at chasing away the deer, so we want her to be able to go out to the perimeter because she also keeps predators away from the chicken coop. But at the same time, we can't depend on her, so we really need our fences. So after a while, she kept gnawing these holes through the fences. It drove me crazy. And so Mark came up with a solution. He made these homemade dog doors in the fences, so Lucy can just come straight through. Lucy, come on. Let's go. Here she comes. Come on, Lucy. No more holes in the fences.
Brought to you by the Avian Aquamizer, our poop-free chicken water. Visit us on the web at www.avianaquamizer.com.